Also, like teaching in March is like March Madness. Everybody's watching the basketball games rather than actually paying attention in class. It's not just the students either. It's just funny. My team, Gonzaga University, was in the final two, the championship game, but they lost again. They sometimes get to the championship game, but they always seem to lose. And only when I'm watching. So this year I didn't watch the game at all, just so I wouldn't jinx them, and they still lost. So, oh well. One year they'll win. Gonzaga is a pretty small school. We only have about 3,000 students. It's not like these big monster schools like University of Oregon and Oregon State. But it's a good school. All right, so we're looking at dates. What is going on with Replit? It's slow today. Where's Lincoln? Yeah, it seems to be kind of slow. Yeah, it's kind of odd. Okay, so here's where we left it last time. I'll just do a scan of the code so you can see. This is the tester class, and this is all done. Again, we don't have to do really anything. Here's our Julian date. We're going to be looking at that. Get Julian date, trying to figure that how many days since the beginning of the year today is, let's say, or the date we typed in, and then we'll get the number of days between January 1st of this year, or actually the date that we typed in, and today, and now gives us the dates between. Hopefully that those two numbers will match if we did it right. But if we go out and look in the date class and we say, well, what does get Julian date do? Well, we've finished up on the leap year. There's our leap year method. We've got our two constructors, like we said. Here's toString. What toStrings relies on a method called toMonthString. Here's days in months. Now this is complete, but this one's not. I only put the days like February, and I put in all the months that have 30 days, but I haven't put in the ones that have 31 days. That's for you to do. Okay. And then here is toMonthString. Again, I've got you started in the pattern. So if the month equals January, or if the month equals 1, then it spits out January. But you have to fill in the rest of the months here if you haven't done that yet. And then here is translate months. This is what we talked about yesterday. So we're taking a month string, making it all lowercase, or making a copy of it and making it lowercase, and then comparing it to all spelled out and also abbreviated. Now you might also put one in there for if they put a period there, because sometimes they do that. So if you really want to cover all the bases, you could say January period, right? In case they put a period, then a semicolon. Okay. So all of those will match and allow you in and find the month number. If we're trying to convert the name to the month number. I've got February in there. Maybe I'll put in another case. I'll say Feb, period, and then a colon. Okay. So do something similar for the other months if you can. Here's get Julian date. This is dates from the beginning of the year. And notice that right now we're just setting the Julian date to -1 and returning that. And so that's just a placeholder. Notice I have my little to-do thing there. I'm going to zoom in a bit so it makes this a little bit easier to read at home. That's a little too big. And we're going to come up with a way of doing this. Well, maybe typically you would use a loop. And I'm trying to avoid having to use a loop, but I guess we don't have a choice. Well, we do have a choice. We can do it. We can do it sequentially, but it would be a lot of typing. So I'm going to introduce you to a loop. Basically, we're going to try to loop through the months When you're getting the Julian date, though, you have to have an algorithm in your head. And I haven't really thought of it, so I'm going to think of it in front of class today. And maybe let's write some pseudocode to help us with our plans today. So let me look up a Notepad++, let's say. Now, what pseudocode is it kind of looks like code, but it's not in any particular language other than English, right? You're just writing down what a program might do to figure out the Julian date. So we would say we get a date and we're trying to figure out how many days it's been since the start of the year. So what would be good is to, first of all, figure out the months that we've already passed, okay? So like say today is June, what's the date? The 15th, June 15th. So what we can do is look at the months before June 15th and just add them all together, right? And that will give us all the months up to, but not including June, okay? So we'll take all the days in January and we'll add them all the days in February, and then we'll add up all the days in March and April and May and stop there and say, okay, we've got all the days and complete months up till now, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll then just add what today's date is in this month, which is 15, because we're on the 15th day of June. And then that should give us, if we add all those numbers up, that should give us the number of days since the beginning of the year, right? So how would you go about doing that? Well, maybe we create a loop, okay? And a loop looks like this. We would say set last month, let's say, we'll call it, well, let's not call it last month, say final month, that would be better. And this will be one less than the month of the date. We'll set that equal to, say, the date object. So we'll just call it date object. Date object dot month -1, okay? We're just subtracting one from whatever month we're trying to figure out today. So we have this date, we have this date object, and we're trying to figure out, well, first of all, we got to figure out if get Julian date is static or not, because that's important. Notice it's not static. So we do need to have a, we need to have a date object, which means we can use the instance variables in our data object to do what we need to do. So we'll set our final month that we're going to accumulate to whatever this current month is -1, okay? And then we're going to say, okay, well, we got that. And then we're going to set I equal to 0, let's say. Well, let's start it at 1, because that would be better, I think. And then we might say this. We might say while, and what language am I writing in? And the answer is no language in particular. I'm just writing it in English, but kind of in computer, like a computer program would look. But writing in English, I could take this and write it in Java. I could take it, write it in C. I could take it and write it in Scratch, even, you know, if you wanted to. It's just something that looks like code. So while I is less than or equal to final month, okay. So right now I is equal to 1. Final month, let's say our final month, we're using today's date. So our final month would be May, right? That's 1 less than this month. Okay. So then I indent and I say, well, what do I want to do? I would say, well, I need a variable. I guess you don't need to declare variable. So we say, we'll call it days in year. Yeah, we probably need to create it up here. We could say set days in year equal to 0. We want to start out at 0 just to make sure. Okay. And then days in year you would say equals days in year. Maybe we'd add, we have that method called days in month, right? And we just pass in I. So the first time we go through this, I will be January, right? Or be 1. So it'll tell us the number of days in January, add that to days in year, and then assign that value to the days in year. So we're accumulating the number of days in the month, including the one we're on. We said less than or equal to final month. That seems to be right. We do have a special case we have to be careful of. And the special case is, well, there's 2 special cases. If say the date is in January, right? If we subtract 1 from January, then we're going to get, well, 0. Our final month will be 0. And then this is 1. Is 1 less than or equal to 0? And the answer will be no. So we'll just skip this loop completely. So our loop is pretty tight. So I'm going to just say end while, just so I know where the bottom of it is. Again, I'm just putting it in English so we can see it. So after we go through this loop, this while loop, we have to do something at the bottom of the loop. We say I equals I plus 1. Or you can just say add 1 to I. Okay, we're writing in English, right? And it will do that until I grows until it's less than, or until it's greater than final month. Once it's greater than, then it will stop. And we should have in days in year accumulated all the days up to the previous month, whatever date we're looking at. And then all we need to do then is just add the number of days in this month that we've already gone past. So this is the 15th. So we would say days in year equals days in year plus date object, whatever our date object is, dot day, whatever day it is this month, okay? And then I think if we do that, then we'll have the number of days since the beginning of the year, okay? So now that you've written your pseudocode, you can say, now how do I translate this into Java? Well, there's one thing we forgot here in days and months. Remember that in order to figure out how many days are in February, we need to also know the year, right? Because it might be a leap year and the days are different. So it has a second parameter. So we would say date object dot year, okay? And that will give us the number of days. Now, we're not going to use the year and all the other months. The only month we care about is February. Now, the other thing that you'll find is if the date object that we're looking at is in December, will this still work? I suppose it will, but we'll try it. We're going to code it up and we'll give it a try. Okay, so that's our game plan. Now, before you start any complex method like we're doing, it's good to think about what you want to do before you start coding. You know, if you start coding before you've thought about how you're going to solve this problem and have a general idea of how you might accumulate the right answer, you're not going to be successful coming up with the right answer just by jumping straight into the coding. Okay, in complex coding, you really have to take the first step of writing it out in English, what you're planning on doing, and then trying to translate that into Java. Okay, so that's our plan. So how do we make this plan into a Java program? Well, let's do some things that we have to do in Java that we could kind of skipped over here. Trying to get both things on the screen at the same time, but it's a challenge. Yeah, I'll have the. I just can't get my screens the way I want. I have 2 screens here, and I still can't see anything. All right. So the first thing we do is we get rid of this. That's our. I call it Julian date. In the pseudocode, I called it days in year. So just to be consistent, maybe we say days in year. Because that's really what a Julian date is. A lot of people don't know what Julian date means, so maybe that's the way to do it. And then we return the days in year here. And then in between, we have to figure out all the things we saw in our pseudocode. First thing would be to figure out the final month. So we would say int, these are whole numbers, final month, the local variable equals, well, this object. We could say this dot. Notice how it's not giving me my list? That's frustrating. Because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's really weird. Do I have to call get month? No, I'm inside the date object already. This is code inside the object. So I don't have to call get month. I see people do that all the time. All you have to say is month. In fact, you don't even need to put in the word this if you don't want to. You can just say month, because that's one of the instance variables that belongs to the object. And we want to subtract 1 from that. Okay, so back to our pseudocode then. I guess we have to keep popping it up on the screen. So we've done this part, right? And now we have to create this loop. I'm using a while loop. You could use a for loop as well. Let's use a while loop. It's a little bit more understandable. So we'll talk about this in Java too, but we say while, well, first we say int I equals 1. Now, typically, you set this index I, just a generic variable, to 0. But since we're using dates and dates start counting at 1, or month numbers start counting at 1, we're going to just start it with 1 and just keep that in mind as we go through this. And then we say this while I is less than or equal to final month. Okay. So we're just trying to add up all the days up to 1 month before the current month. Well, that's true. So again, we talked about if statements. Here it's using conditional expressions. So you use conditional expressions not only in if statements, but also to drive loops like a while loop. So we know this evaluates to true or false. If it's true, then we do the inside stuff. Well, what's the inside stuff? Well, we need to do this, right? Let's see if that's, I kind of wrote it in code already, but let's just try it. We take the number of days in the year. We probably should start that out at 0. Now, there's this rule in Java, and this you have to be really careful here, because if you have a local variable and you forget to initialize it, it will not initialize it for you. It just has whatever garbage is in memory, which is really surprising to me. Okay? You really have to remember to set that to 0 to start with, or you're going to get some funky, you may get some funky answers because you forgot to initialize it. So we say, okay, so the days in year, I'm going to shorten this a bit and say plus equals. So that way I don't have to write days in year again. It's the days in month. You pass an I for the current month. And then instead of date object, you just say this.year. Or you can leave out the this. Okay. The assumption is you're working with the current object. And then semicolon at the end. And then a lot of people forget to change the control variable. The control variable is in this case is I. If you forget to change that, it will loop forever, and you're caught in an infinite loop. That's bad. Okay. So you got to remember to say I++, which means add 1 to I. So at the bottom of each while loop, you add 1 to it. Okay. So now we should have the number of days up until the beginning of the last month. Okay. If we look back at our pseudocode, we see that it says, okay, we've added 1, we've ended our while, that's that closing curly brace. And now we want to add the days in the current month. So this would be the current month. I didn't really pass that in, did I? This would be month, or this dot month, like date object dot month. Okay. And again, this might be February, so we're going to have to pass in the year as well. Date object dot year. I'm just updating my pseudocode because I didn't quite finish it up. Okay, so that's kind of what we want to do. So let's do it here. So I say days in year plus equals. So we're just adding it. And we're doing this, days in months. So that same thing. But this time, instead of setting I in, we're setting in this dot month and this dot year. And that will get the number of days from the beginning of June till now. Now they're all added together, right? Everything's been accumulated into days and year, and now we can return that as our answer. Get the Julian date for this object. So by using some pseudocode, we were able to plan out what we might be doing in the real code. It's a good intermediate step to do when you have a complex problem to solve, is try it first in pseudocode. See if you got the algorithm in your head. And once you have the algorithm and it makes sense to you, and you run it in your brain with your hand, you know, it's called a paper, what do they call it? You just run it manually, not through the computer. So let's try it. I'm going to put in today's, or I'm going to put in a date I would know, like February 1st. We should know that that's the 32nd day of the year, right? Because January has 31 days. So I'm going to try February 1st. We're here in a window. I got an error. Forgot the semicolon. I'm always excited when I get it right the first time. Enter a month number. Okay, so we're going to try February 1st this year and see what we get for output. It says February 1st, 2021 is day number -2. That's not what I expected. Okay. -2? How can that be? I don't see how we could get a negative number. Well, let's run through it, thinking that this is month. So we have month should be equal to 2. We subtract 1, that's 1. So final month is 1. So it's 1 less than or equal to 1. It is. So days in year, which is 0, and we had days in month, and that didn't give us the right answer. There's something wrong with our days in month. Days in month code. So let's take a look at that. I thought that was working. This is the first time we tried it though. I put in 2. Here's 2. Is it a leap year? Well, 2021 is not a leap year. So we get 29. No, 28, because it's not a leap year. And then it should return num days. But somehow, I bet you we got the default. See there? Num days equals -1. Here we got -2. So my guess is, yeah, the number of days in the month is -1. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, I forgot the break. Oops, good eyes. Very good. Yeah. Yeah, if you forget to put a break, it falls into the default case, and then it overwrites the num days you just figured out. So you have to put a break here. Boy, that's really good. Okay. So that bug's been there since we started, but we haven't noticed that yet because we haven't exercised this function really, especially with February. February, special case, got to put the break statement in. Okay, let's try it again and see if we get a little bit better results. Sure, like Jacob's in the class. He's really good at finding my bugs. I appreciate that. Okay, so 2/1/2021, and again, before you run it, you say, okay, what am I expecting? I'm expecting 32, right? Well, I'm not going to get 32 because the problem is this function is not complete because you can't find January, so January is going to give you -1 days, and we're going to still have the same wrong answer. And sure enough, days of the month is 28, so that worked. The number of the month is 2, so that works. It says February 1st is day number 27. 27. Why did we get 27? Okay, so here we have a break. Here we got the default, right? Yeah, I didn't expect this number here. Day number is 27. It's like it's adding, I said February 1st. It's adding in February, right? It's not supposed to do that. So that means we're going through our loop one too many times, or yeah, I think one too many times. So let's take a look here. I said less than or equal to final month. Well, we said 2. Final month is 2. It just should be just less than, okay? Because it added up the number of days in February. Yeah, that's good. See how those relational operators are so important to get them set right? Now, I came into class, a lot of teachers, computer science teachers, don't like make mistakes in front of their students. I'm not one of those teachers. In fact, the process of working through bugs is more important than getting it perfect, because I want to show you what happens when you're actually coding. You run into a couple problems, you look at the results, and you say, well, how could that be? The process of coding is just as important as the concept or the things that we're learning about coding. But how do you actually code? And so I always come into class, have no idea how I might solve this. I've done it in years past, but I've forgotten that. It's like 2 years ago now. And so I'm just going to go with my instincts and give it a try, but still go through that preliminary step. I want you to see the process and want you to see how I think, because if you start thinking like I think, then you're going to be a good programmer. Okay? That's my hope. Okay, so let's try it again. I expect to get, what do I expect? Well, we don't have January in there, so we got -1. We add 1 day. We're going to get 0, which is still wrong. But 2/1/2021. The number of the month is 2. I got 28. It's still getting into January. What's January getting in there, or February? It's day 28. So we should start at 0. Well, let's think about that. We said our months start counting at 1. Now with loops, you always have these off by 1 errors, it seems. Yeah, and that's right. You want to skip the loop if it's January.
Well, it won't add any days because there's no.
Yeah, let's yeah. Well, it will spit out -1.
Yeah. Then it will add 1, and then it will check it right and then scan January and add that.
Yeah. Well, let's fix. Maybe the best way to do this is let's fix the number of days thing, and see what we're gonna get. That's here. I'm just gonna put in. I'm gonna put in January, just so that we can get some consistent results. So if it's, oh no, that's not in the right place. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, here we want to put in January. So I'm just going to put January. You have to put the other ones in, but case 1, and then we'll set num days. Equal to 31, right? Now you put other cases there, there's other months that have 31 days, but right now we're just concerned with January. Let's take a look to see what our output looks like. Here again, I'm going February 1st, 2021. Month is 2. February 1st is day number 28. Yeah, so we're still getting in there. Okay, so let's try Martin's idea. I'm a little skeptical, but I'm open to other, here it is. Set this to 1 or 0 to start with. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, 2/1/2021. February 1st is day 27. Yeah, so it's not making sense. So we've got to figure out why are we getting 28 days? Maybe for January, we should have gotten 31 days for January, right? Yes, let's just do one day at a time. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to do January 1st. That should be 1, right? So 1/1/2021. Number of days in the month is -1. What? The days in the month for January is returning -1. But we just put January in there. It's hard doing this without a debugger too. Usually you have a debugger, which is a lot easier way to find problems. Here's days in months. Here we break. That's 30. Here we break. Here's case 1. We didn't say break. The same problem. Okay? It flowed into default, and then our numbers are wrong. So again, January 1. Slowly but surely, we're getting closer to our solution. Number of days in the month is 31. Hey, we got the number of days in January. The name of the month is January. The number of the month is 1. January 1 is day number 31. So it's given us the whole month, right? So okay, so let's keep losing where that is. Days in month, 2 month strings. Yeah, translate month. Here it is. Okay, so if we put in January, then month -1 is final month is 0, right? And then we get say, is 1 less than 0? It's not. So it skips all this. Oh, I see. Instead of saying days and months, oh, that's our mistake right there. Okay. We should just add the current day. So we would just say this dot day. Okay. It was giving us all the days in that month, and we just want today's date for the last month. Okay, one last time. Uh-oh. Yeah. Okay, here's 1/1/2021. The number of the month is 1, day number 1. Hey, so January 1st works. Okay, so let's try it again, and now we'll try it with February 1st. And hopefully we'll get 32. That's our hope. Okay. So 2/1/2021. February 1st is day number 1. So it didn't add in January. Days in year. So say we said 2. Yeah, the while loop never happens. So if we put 2 minus 1, that gives us 1. Is I less than 1? It isn't. Where? Right here? Or for final month? Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Or change this, right, to equals? Less than or equals? Like that? Yeah, let's try that. I haven't thought it through all the way, but we're just kind of trying it. It doesn't hurt us any to try it out. So we said 2/1/2021. And it's day 32. Yay. Okay. Right. What was that? Yeah, you can go backwards. That's another way to do it. like I say, my solution isn't always the best solution. It's a solution. If you have a better way or a different algorithm, you can do that. I try to do my algorithms without looking at the ones online because it helps me understand things better. If I just copy something offline, you may not understand how it works. And then when it breaks, you don't know how to fix it. All right, so now we're trying to figure out, we can do January, we can do February. What about a leap year, right? Do we have March in this thing? I think we have March. No, we don't have March there, but we have March. Yeah, March isn't in days and months. It does, right there. Yeah. So, but you have to pass in the leap year. So let me just put in March, because I know March has 31 days. So there's 3, right? So now March can be figured out. And we'll try March 1st, okay? What's our expectation? Well, let's say January is 31. February, this is not a leap year, so February has 28, so that's 59. Should be 60. Day 60 is March 1st. Let's try it. Invalid month number, yes, okay. But number is 60. Hey, it worked. Okay. Yeah, I haven't made the other part yet. Yeah, I don't want to put everything in here, but again, we need to put in the months that are missing. 30 days have September, April, June, and November, all the one. So we have 4, 6, 9, 1, 3. April has 30. May has 31. So we say case 5. 6 is 30. 7 is 31. 8 is 31 as well. 9 is 30. 10 has 31. 11 is 30. 12 has 31. And now we've covered all the months, okay? We can get rid of this comment. All right. So another day that might be interesting to try would be the last day of the year, right? Because that day should be 365, right? So let's try that last day and see. The console is doing weird stuff. Okay, here we go. Enter month number. December. Oops, try again. December. The day 31st, 2021. So that's coming up. Our expectations are it should be 365, right? Would you agree? 365? Yeah, let's try it. 365. That's good. Okay. Now, there's a special case. We've done a January date. We've done a December date. You test your boundaries. What's one date we really need to test? Well, we need to test a leap year, right? So let's do the last day of the year, but we'll do it in a leap year. We'll do it from last year. We should get 366, right? On a leap year. So I'm going to say 12/31, but last year, which was a leap year, that means there was a February 29th, which means we should have one more day in the year. Let's try it. Yeah, 366. So with those tests, I'm pretty confident that we've got the Julian date thing working, but with lots of struggle, right? So Julian date, let me find it. Here it is. So that's our final result right there. I'm going to zoom out a bit so we can see all the code. So with what lot of testing and a lot of rethinking, we were able to come up with a solution to get Julian date. And we've got the test for it. That seems to be working. But now that we have get Julian date, what we want to do, I think we'll do this next time because our brains are probably all exploding at this point, is we'll use get Julian date inside the next function, which is days between. So you get one date, you get another date in the same year, and we're trying to figure out how many days are between them. Like today's date and the last day of school. We want to compare those, and it will tell us how many days are left in the school year, right? You don't have very many days left, but we'd like to be able to figure that out. But we'll save that for next time. Okay? You can start thinking about that, but in order to figure those out, you have to call get Julian date twice. Well, once for today's date and once for the last day of school, and then call days between, and we'll tell you how many days until the last day of school. And that's our goal. All right. Right, any questions from anyone at home? Pretty quiet at home, nothing in the chat. All right, so you can work on this. If you get this working, you can start thinking about this one. And then we'll talk about this one in detail on Thursday. Plus, we'll have our study guide for chapter 5. And then the last day of school, we'll take the quiz, chapter 5 test, and then we'll also finish up on our dates, trying to figure out how many days of summer. How about that? We'll figure it out. We're so close to the end of the school year that we say, well, how many days of summer do we have before we have to come back to school? Okay, so we'll figure out that value. That's more optimistic, I think. And that's what we'll do on our last day, and then we'll be ready to turn in our date class. Now you have a date class that you can use in other programs. So you're doing the calendar program for yourself. You can use this date class to set up your calendar. Other thing we might take a look at is instead of, what I would really like to do is not to make it so that the two dates that you're comparing have to be in the same year. I'd like to be able to compare two dates in 2 different years. Like say, I want to say, how many days have I been alive? So I put in my birth date as one of the dates, and then today's date, and it would tell me how many days I've been alive. That's kind of cool. So maybe we'll talk about that on the last day just for fun. Apart from that, that's all I have for today. I'll let you go. Oh, here. When are you going to post the video for this? I will post this video. Let's see how much time we have. I'll post it today before I start class next period. So that'd be 1:15. So 1:15, I would look for it. If I don't get it by 1:15, you have to wait until after class. Sometimes YouTube takes a while to get it to post, but I'll get it out there. Certainly, yeah, let's just say 1:15. I'll just get it done. Good question. All right, so that's all we have for today. I'll let you go. I'll see you later. Thanks for checking in, and then we'll talk more tomorrow. See ya.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks, Al.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Haley. All right, bye, everyone.